Hey, what's up? Hey, we just want to talk about something really quick. First started out, in-ear things were brand new, and everybody's getting them. And we wanted to get the Aviom System. And then a little further down, the X32 came out, and all the churches wanted to switch to X32. But the problem was that so many churches had Aviom equipment. And when you do a search about Aviom and the X32, you find, oh no, it's not compatible. We can't use it. Oh no. So I just wanted to take a second to say that that's a fallacy, that there is a way to use the Aviom system with the X32 and just about any board for that matter. And how we do that is what we did here. And let me show you. Simple, really. What you do is you get one of these. And that's the Aviom AM-16/IM. And basically that is a digital snake, right? That's your digital snake. It's just like the regular digital snakes that you can get for Behringer board, or whatever, but they cost like $900, $1,000, $1,200. Anyway, and they're stackable. You can have more than one. One unit is 16 channels, and you can stack them and put them on top of each other if you want. Which I don't really recommend because if you're trying to just make it work with a minimal X32, I'm just using 16 channels, and right in this little small church. But if I wanted to, I could stack it and use the 32 channels, which maxes out the board, of course. But to do that, you would have to have a breakout box up at the front. But to run 16 channels, you don't. You just simply run that, and then run the RJ45 cable back, and then you get the AN. See if I can get a picture of it. The AN16-0, and that now up there, the IM, right? It's an input module. I stands for input, and the M means that you can input XLR cables, mic cables, and so it has 16 channels that it can run, and then it has two RJ4, and then it has one that is meant for stacking, right? To link two together. But you don't have to use all that. I just use the regular one RJ45, and I run up here to this 16 IO, and then that converts it from the digital snake back to XLR. And then I just run the jumper straight into the board. This is what happens. The input from the mics and all the lines, they go into the 16IM, right? And then that converts all the analog signals to digital. The digital goes through RJ45 to the 16O. The first RJ45 cable goes to 16O, and then that breaks out, and then I just use jumper wires to go straight into the board, on whichever channel I want. And then I also, at the same time, well, I had a choice. I could have used the 16i, and ran it back up. The good thing about the 16N-IM is it has many outputs. So now I used to do it with the, as you've seen my last video, I used to run the Aviom off of my Versanis board, and I ran just the outputs straight into the 16i, standard 16i, up to the Aviom splitter box, right? And then, but this time what I did was I ran straight from there. So I got, remember I told you there's 2 outputs plus a connector, right, a jumper. So I ran one output up to the front to the 16 IO, the other output straight to the Aviom splitter. So I got 16 channels in each one of my in-ear. Now, the only problem that this had was that if I wanted a mix coming off the board, I couldn't do that, right? But the way I've got around that was I just ran a line, right, from an auxiliary out up to one of the open inputs that I'm not using on the digital snake, and I just don't plug that wire into the board, so it loops. It just goes into the Aviom. So in effect, I have 15. Well, let me explain what I have now on that. Let's walk over here for a second. I'm using my phone for this because I forgot my camera, my nice camera. So here you see it. I have a Scarlett right there. The 4i4, and on the Scarlett, I run a click track, and then I can run, 3 other tracks besides that. So one track is I run out to the mains up front, and that's for the background tracks if when I want to run Ableton and when I have a backing track. The other 3 I run in, but they aren't hooked up to the board. They just run into the in-ears, right? And I can set them up so I can run any number of things. Of course, I got the click track, I got the Q track, I got the click track, and then if I want to, during practice, I can run a part over to the in-ears of any of the musicians so they get the idea of what they're supposed to be playing. And so I got that. Plus I got one live send from the board that comes up that doesn't go back to the board, that goes in the in-ear monitors also. So that's 4 sends, 4 feeds into the in-ear monitors that are only available in the in-ears and not in the house. So that's how I sort of got around. So now I got an extra 16i box that I don't use from when I was using the PreSonus board. Now here's the plus about this. I paid $400 maybe, not even that, probably $350. And then, but the big thing is I didn't have to replace all my personal monitoring systems. I didn't have to replace any of these guys, right? The A16 double I's, because if we paid, when we upgraded to the Behringer X32, if we wanted to replace all the in-ears and everything, man, that's a couple $1,000s more. We would have had to buy the stage box plus all the in-ear stuff and plus a splitter. That's like $2,000-3,000 more, and the church just didn't have it. So this is what we did. For $200-300, we bought this. Only one more piece. That I had to buy 2 more pieces actually. I bought the stage box, Aviom stage box. Actually, it's just the 16 16i IM or whatever, like I said, and then the 16.0, and so that was, and I got a great deal on it. It works fine, and then all I had to do is have just a regular RJ45 cable, and you don't have to buy those nice, real super expensive audio R45s or Cat 6 cables that they use. It's just standard Cat 5, and it works fine, and no buzz, no clicking, no nothing. And I can still use my old gear, which works fine still. And there's no lag time, and I have no problems with it, right? And it works fine using Aviom with the Behringer X32. Now this system, though, the way I got it set up, would work with any board, right? You could literally run the 16 channels. You could run 32 channels if you wanted. If I wanted to, I could run 32 channels. I just have to buy another input, 16 channel input, and another 16 channel output. And then I could run all 32 channels without a problem. and run whatever I wanted to, and my in-ears have those 32. I just have to run some. If I run too many of the things from the board, I'd have to run an analog snake, and plug into one of the channels on the stage. But it works, and it works well, and it wasn't that hard to figure out. And so I decided to make a small video about it, and you know, we did upgrade a little bit. You know, as we see, let me show you what we did here. So we bought the compact, right? And then we're running the ATEM Mini. This is our little screen. And then this is our streaming computer here. And we bought that used for like, I don't know, I think we paid $800 for it used, but it's maxed out. You know, it has max everything that we could get with it. And then I purchased this Fumeco camera up here and mounted it up there. And I'm just powering it off of PoE, power over Ethernet. And you know what? That system is working well. And then I bought, we're going to put a Mac Mini in place for the Pro Presenter system. Now, we cut some corners, but it's working well. So remember, just because it says, if you think about that stuff, there's always ways to get something done. You know, you don't always have to spend, you know, $6,000 to upgrade. I mean, it's nice to be able to do all that, but if you're a small church like us, then, I mean, I originally bought the PreSonus for a couple $100, and we used that for a long time. But one thing that the PreSonus didn't do that this board does, well, for one, it has 32 channels. But for another, it has a lot better system for the plugins and the reverbs and everything, and it's a lot easier to use the Waves outboard system. You know, so, you know, one of the things I'd like to start using is auto-tune for some of my kids, but that's just another thing. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. All right, see you later.